The one thing I will say, and Melanie, I want to thank you before we start, was thank you so much for letting us use your website as part of the presentation. What we do here, or what I do here, is I use people's websites in the audience and show them what their website looks to people that are outside of their box, which is basically outside of their industry. People learn so much when they step outside their box, and there was one other participant who's not here, which we get to trash as much as we like because he can't defend themselves. That's just a joke. So this is basically about how you can stand out with your competition. So it started out, now I'm going to put a picture up here. You're going to see it for a very brief time. It's just a joke picture of, but the point is that when people come after it, they're not going to be able to see this picture. But years and years ago, I used to teach, and I still teach once in a while. I was a rock and roll music guitar teacher. I was a coach in Brooklyn, and that's what I did. I did that for years. I did it in Brooklyn and then moved to Staten Island. I had about 40 hours a week I taught, which is equivalent to 80 students a week. This guy right here was the guy who used to teach rock and roll music in Brooklyn. Don't go falling in love, Torna. So yeah, that was me in Brooklyn, and then my wife, who was just helping clean up, she proposes to me in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get a real job, I gotta cut my hair, I gotta get a dental benefit, all that stuff. So we ended up moving to Staten Island, and what I did is I had to leave my teaching career there. I got a real job, but I came to Staten Island, and I loved teaching kids how to play music. That was just my thing. So I went out to a couple music schools, I worked there on Staten Island, and they were terrible, and I knew that I could probably do it better myself. So what does every person who's like an entrepreneur, wants to start their own business do? They open up their own music school. So I did just that on Staten Island. I had my coaches in Brooklyn, who I knew so well, come out to Staten Island. I said, I'll finance everything. Just teach and coach the way I was doing it for years. They said, absolutely, that's no problem. So I built out this beautiful school on Staten Island, Arthur Kill Road, and you think that when you build it, they'll come. I mean, like every entrepreneur, they think when you open up those doors, people are going to knock those doors down, and all of a sudden you're going to be, living the dream. And let me tell you, after 2 years, I wasn't living any dream. I got to tell you, I sat down. I remember it was a Saturday night. I was in business now 2 years, and I sat down Saturday night. My wife was upstairs sleeping, my kids were sleeping, and I'm sitting at the dining room table going, what am I going to do? I got rent coming up. I got payroll I have to run. I have utilities I have to pay. I don't know about you, but as a business owner, I didn't get a paycheck for some time because that's what we do as business owners. We got to make sure that our people that are working with us, making our dreams happen, they're paid. We've got to make sure rent is paid. And at that point, I sat down and I said, I got 3 options. Option 1 is I could sell my business. I don't know if any of you here ever said, I got to sell my business to get out. But when you're in a business that's failing, no one's buying a business that's failing. That was one of the biggest obstacles. The second one was, well, I can close my school down. And then I said to myself, if I close my school, there goes my entrepreneurial dreams. It's crushed, it's shattered. I'll never be able to do this again, and I'm a failure. And then my third option was, well, I could figure something out and maybe I could continue with the struggle. And people used to say to me, if you want something different, you got to do what you're not doing. So I went out and I hired a business coach. It was a lot of money, and I scrapped my savings together, and I knew that if I hired somebody who can coach me and my business, maybe that's my last ditch effort, and that's exactly what I did. So I hired a coach, and he had an incredible USP, and we're going to explain what a USP is, but his unique selling proposition was, Mike, you're going to pay me a lot of money for me to coach you, but we're going to coach you at my favorite restaurant where you're going to buy dinner for me while you can take notes. I said, okay, problem solved, right? So I go to his favorite restaurant, it was here in Jersey, and he sits me down, he goes, okay, who's your ideal customer, your ideal client? I said, that's easy. It's the 11 or 12-year-old boy or girl who wants to learn how to play guitar, sing, play drums, piano, bass. That's my ideal customer. And I say, hey, if you want to be the next Eddie Van Halen, I could make you the next Eddie Van Halen. And we got coaches to make you sing like Taylor Swift and play drums like Neil Peart. We have those resources. So he said, oh, that's interesting. So when they come to your music school, do they pay you with cash or credit? And I looked at him, I said, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, let me guess. They cash out on their lemonade stand, they come to your music school, and they hand you the money. And I said, no, of course not. It's the parents. He said, aha, it's the parents, the person that gives you the money. Your message right now is going to an 11 or 12-year-old boy or girl. The parents couldn't care less if that's the next Eddie Van Halen or Taylor Swift. what are some of the things you get out of your music lessons? I said, that's easy. I have shows, and we play the biggest clubs here in New York, and we get these kids on the stage, and when they get up on stage, their self-confidence grows exponentially like you'll never believe. And when they walk off that stage, the amount of confidence they have, they can conquer the world. That's what we give these children. He said, change your message. Direct that message to the moms and to the dads. And I said, sure, that won't cost me anything. I'll just change my marketing. He goes, just market now to moms and dads. And we got more and more granular as he began to coach me more and more. That year, I would have made $40,000 like the year before. But this was February, March. I closed that year $165,000. The following year was $250,000. The last year was $350,000. We capped at $350,000 because there was no more room to teach kids. We filled up. We were capped out. Today I have 3 music schools, and this place is probably, and you can see this place really offers the experience for children. But you can see that my whole dream would have been crushed if I gave it up 20 years ago at my kitchen table, if it wasn't for me hiring a business coach. So I always promised myself I would help other people. You're going to see these little things that we're going to do today are going to transform your business. I'm going to show you things that are so obvious that most people don't even see them. It's crazy. And if you can apply them to your business, and if you want to take notes, you have the pen and paper, please do. I do these workshops. There are 4-hour workshops. I coach people on the side, and there was one guy who took my workshop, and his name was Wilson. And I don't know if you guys know what an airport shuttle service is. Does anybody know what an airport shuttle service is? It's basically you have a flight that goes out of Newark or JFK. You drive out to, let's call it this airport shuttle service. You park your car, and they shuttle you over to EWR, right, Newark, and they let you out. It's really, really convenient, and it's awesome. He was in the audience, and he signs up for the coaching, and he says, Mike, my biggest problem is I have a USP, a unique selling proposition. What we do that nobody else does is we wash people's cars before they actually pick up the car to go back home. So when they come home, their cars are parked out front, they're clean, and they have a pleasant experience. He said, I don't know what it is, but my drivers all work part-time jobs, and because I can't afford to pay them that much, they can only work part-time for me. We were hoping that we can get them more money in tips, but they're only making up to $10 a day. And I said, Wilson, how do you accept tips? He said, cash. Everybody here in the shuttle business accept cash. All my friends and their companies, they accept cash. I said, that's strange. I was just out a few months ago, and I took an airport shuttle service because I love them, and I didn't tip them. And I'm thinking I should have tipped them. And he said, well, why not? And I said, because I don't carry cash when I travel. And he said to me, wait a second. You're saying to me my ideal customer probably doesn't carry cash? I said, that's it. It's not your service. You got great service. Your shuttles are beautiful, and they're brand new. Your drivers are great. The cars are washed. What more can you ask for? I said, why don't we do this, Wilson? What if you get a QR code of Venmo, and I want you to put right on the dashboard. Get your QR code, print it out, put it on the dashboard, and instead of $10 a day, let's see what happens for the next couple of weeks. We ended the coaching call like that. 2 weeks later, come on in. Sorry. No, it's okay. Grab a seat. 2 weeks later, I get a call from Wilson on the next call. Wilson says to me, you're never going to believe what happened. I said, well, what happened? He says, well, we put these QR codes in, and now my drivers are making $100 and more every single day. They're not part-time anymore, they're full-time, and $500 a week is equivalent to $2,000 a month, is $24,000 a year. And there was one of the things that one of our presidential candidates said is that he's no longer going to tax tips. So now, if it's not $24,000, realistically, it's like a $30,000 upgrade. So now he's got no part-time drivers; they're all full-time. So I go out to call him up, and I said, I'm going to Miami. I need a shuttle service. I'm going to use you for the first time. So I go there, and he goes, Mike, I'm going to drive you to Newark Airport. I said, great. He goes, get in the shuttle, thinking that he was going to get one of his drivers to drive me. And this is what I saw. Let's go back here. His QR code with his name on it. I said, Wilson, what are you doing? You're driving your shuttle service now? You're not working behind the desk? You're the owner here. He goes, I'm making more money driving my shuttle service than working behind the desk. And now this guy, he's able to now afford a bigger apartment for his family. He's got full-time workers. And that was simply because we just made that one change. It didn't cost him a dime. The goal here is to teach you how to do these little silly things that nobody really sees, so you could make that extra money without having to spend more money on marketing. So my goal here is to use somebody like, Melanie, your Edelberry, her website, and then we have the website of the Easy 411. We're going to show you how people look at other people's websites. You want to identify who their customers are. And sometimes we have to step out of the box to do that. Like I had to step out of the box to learn that my ideal customer was mom and dad. And he had to step out of the box knowing travelers never paid with cash because they don't travel with cash. So the next thing is, this is my favorite thing. You'll never look at Gary Michaels again. How many people know who Gary Michaels is? Everybody who's on Route 9 sees this Gary Michaels. You'll never look at this guy again. It was November of last year. This is a true story. I'm driving on Route 9 South, and my wife's next to me, and I go, oh my God, look at this sign. This guy is brilliant, brilliant. My wife is like, what are you talking about? I said, look at this. Megan, will you marry me? This guy, Gary Michaels, must have said, all right, I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to have some kind of, contest. Anybody who's getting ready to get married, and I'm going to put them in a pool, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them, and the winner's going to be on the poster on Route 9, and that's the way that Meg's going to find out that she's getting proposed, and it's going to be a great idea. Or he probably said, and this is in the car ride as we saw this, or Gary Michaels must have said something along the lines like, if this is going to cost me $5,000 to put up a billboard, maybe somebody else can pay for my marketing. What if I ask the next 10 people that are walking in to purchase an engagement ring to propose to their future wives? What if I gave them the opportunity to post this on Route 9? And holy crap, imagine. And my wife is like, what are you talking about? I said, imagine though, if that potential bride sees this on Route 9, how many times she's going to drive on Route 9 and take pictures and videos and then put it on TikTok and then Instagram and on Facebook, and then her friends are going to see it. And that's free advertising and free marketing. Holy smokes, Gary Michaels, he's a genius. She's like, you're mad, you're insane, nobody thinks like that. I'm like, I'm telling you, this guy's hired a professional marketer. This is a $5,000 billboard a month. You guys know Remax, you guys know how much it costs to put up billboards. It's crazy. She goes, I'll bet you're wrong. I said, sure. Whatever you want. She goes, I got my eyes on a gray Dodge Durango. You know, the GT one with all blacked out. I'm like, yeah? Yeah, I'll bet you. She said, I'll bet you that. And I said, well, that's fine. She says, well, what do you want if I lose? I said, I don't want the Durango, so I don't have to buy it. That was the key. So I get on the phone. I call up Gary Michaels. I says, I got to speak to Gary Michaels. This woman says, well, Gary Michaels isn't available right now. I'm his assistant. I take care of all of Gary Michaels' work and everything he does. Maybe I can help you out. I said, great. Are you in charge of marketing? And she said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I am in charge of marketing. I said, tell me all about Megan. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, on Route 9, you get that proposal, Megan, will you marry me? And this is the way maybe we can get married. It was a proposal opportunity for this guy who's proposing to his wife. This was the idea, and you were going to do this and blow it up in marketing. She goes, what are you talking about? And she started to sound like my wife. She goes, I don't know who Megan is. This was a made up, fictitious person. We just want to sell engagement rings. Look at the opportunity that Gary Michaels lost. He left right on the table. He still had to spend $5,000. How many people know guys that have no way to propose to their girlfriends or their future girlfriends or fiancés, and they don't know what to do? This would have been an amazing opportunity. And how many women out here in this room would have been crazy if they saw this on a posted billboard? How many times would you send that to friends and family? It would have been on Instagram. It would have been all over the place. Yeah, who cares if I'm going through a red light? Who cares if I miss the stop sign? That's because that's the out of the box thinking. And I cannot believe he just lost this opportunity. I mean, and how many opportunities do business people lose all the time? And that's why I feel it's so important for people who are starting a business or in a business right now, as that first few years, they say your 50% chance of losing is 50%. You're going to lose. The chances of you closing your shop is 50% of the folks that open up their own business. These are the little things that we need to do to help us grow our business without spending a dime. He lost a lot of money. Forget about the advertising and the marketing, because if a girl saw this, and I know if my wife saw this or my daughter saw this, it would be all over social media. It would have been free marketing.
So how's the Durango?
She now drives her gray Durango. Sure, Elise was up. That was the bet. Now she drives her beautiful Dodge Durango. So she got what she wanted. But that word to the wise, men out there, you never bet against a woman, ever. I learned that the hard way. Okay, so the next thing is, the question is, how much time does the average user spend looking at a website? And I don't expect you to know this, but just take some guesses if you do, or if you don't. Joe? 10 seconds. Steve? 10, 15 seconds. You're all in the ballpark.
Maybe 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, go bump it up. Mike?
Yeah, I was thinking like 8 to 10 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, great. Same thing, 10, 15 seconds? Hello, take a seat. What do you think, Twana?
Actually, like, maybe 30, 35 seconds.
All right, between 30 and 35, that's a lot. Okay, so then according to Forbes Advisor, it's 10 to 15 seconds, but the majority of 50%, or 55%, it's up to 15 seconds. So anywhere between 1 and 15 seconds, which means if you have a message, you better show it real quick. Because if you can't show it quick and you can't capture that attention, you just lost that potential customer. And that's super important. The website challenge. Now, everybody here, I assume, has a website. And if you don't, it's even better because you're going to now learn how not to do things and how to build a website. So like I said, I want to thank Sherry for reaching out to Melanie and, of course, I think it was Billy, and Nicole for theirs.
Melanie reached out to Sam and Marina.
Gotcha. So how you doing, Marina? So we're going to just do two. We're going to do the easy 411 and we're going to do yours as well. So the first one is next. But I want to go over a couple of things. Does anybody know what above the fold means?
In a newspaper that folds,
Exactly.
above the fold, you'll get your major articles.
Exactly. So when you're at a newsstand and there's papers this big, folding them up and putting them in the newsstand is super important. So when you do see something, the first thing you see is the headline. Above the fold is identical to a website. If you have a mobile device, it's the same thing. It's what you see as soon as you get to your home page. No scrolling, it's above the fold. That's where they get that term from.
Superintendent, you don't want to be above the fold.
Exactly right. It's exactly right. The next part is the call to action and who their ideal customer is. When you go to the website and you have that home page and you have above the fold, you need to know exactly what that call to action is. That could be the top 5 reasons to buy my houses or sell with RE/MAX. It could be something as simple as sign up my form, we're going to give you a free music lesson, for example. That's what you want to do, and you want to focus on your ideal customer. That's really important. Because if you want to throw out a marketing blanket to hundreds of thousands of people, you're never going to get anybody to trickle in. You got to focus specifically. My market I focused on beginning was just moms and dads. Then I realized, well, moms and dads could be future moms. Congratulations. It could be somebody who's just got a newborn, but I can't teach music to a newborn. And usually with teenagers, they're already finding boys and girls and they don't want to deal with music lessons. Mine was the soccer mom who's a stay-at-home mom. Their kids are 7 to 11, 12 years old. That's who I wanted to focus on. That's when I started to get granular. So if you guys are looking to find an audience, make sure it's as specific as possible. They say the niches are in the riches. Same exact thing. Be as granular as you possibly can because it's not everybody. It's great where you want to serve everybody, but you're going to lose marketing dollars and you're never going to be able to focus. You got to focus on that 1 or 2 type of clients. And that's what I did, and that's how I was able to grow the business. The next part is my favorite, is the red light challenge. I'm going to explain what the red light challenge is, and you'll see what it looks like in person. We were getting phone calls all the time from people who were stopped at a red light. And we know this how? Because when people were stopped at a red light, we were getting phone calls, hi, I'm inquiring about music lessons. And we'd be like, well, let's sign your kids up. We'll set something up on the calendar, get your credit card payment. We can't, we're driving right now. They hung up. We took their information and of course called them back. We kept getting these calls and Google, and we'll speak about that too, Google captures all the data as far as where these calls are coming from, and people on their mobile devices were hitting a button, we call it a sticky button, and they were calling us up. Turns out 99% of these people were moms driving their kids around soccer or football, and in the back seat were kids singing, and the mom's like, we got to get you singing lessons, or hitting the back of the headrest, and we got to get you drum lessons. And they would just look up on Google, music lessons, and there was rock out loud. There was a button. They clicked the button and they called. That's how we knew the majority of the people were calling us while they were driving. It's not safe. We're not saying to do that, but when they're stuck at a light, most people will check their phones. They pick it up. If you have a phone and it has a phone number, and you got to put that phone number in, that light's changed in 30 seconds. There's not enough time. But the seconds that it takes to hit that and hit call, it's two taps. Tap on the phone, tap on the call, it goes right to you. So the sticky button challenge, I added it to this because I've been doing this for a while. Most people don't have this. If they don't, it's a problem. Okay, so this next slide is going to be easy for I think it was Easy Sell 411. So I'm going to give you 15 seconds. If you want to take your pen and paper, write down what you see. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to ask you I'm going to count down too. I want to make sure you find who you feel their ideal customer is, and I want you to tell me what you think they're selling. You ready? I'm going to count it down. 1, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Who is Easy Sell 411's target customer? Melanie?
People buying a home.
People buying a home. I wish. Okay. Joe?
Homeowners looking to sell.
Homeowners looking to sell. Well, Mike, what do you think? You're
I
the.
was going to say, people looking to sell homes, they want to buy them from those sellers.
Okay. So would you say it's confusing at the very least?
Yeah, it took me a second to
Okay.
reread their message. Yep.
Gotcha. Kimberly, what do you think they were?
Well, I was actually, my eyes went somewhere else.
Where did it? No, it's important. Where did you
My
write?
eyes, I saw Breaking Barriers. I was like, oh, he's on a podcast. You know, like I know,
Yes.
I know them. So my eyes were media. Like I'm thinking that way. But of course, when I checked out what he does, very plain to see it has something to do with buying or selling a home.
Right.
And he's aggressive. He's holding up the sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I got that.
Sherry?
I cheated because I already looked at.
Okay, so you and Steve.
It did take me a little time, and I realized it was about selling homes. But I also honed in on that image of the podcast, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, what has he done before?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Gotcha. Ed, what do you think?
Yeah, selling the homes, and what caught me was, he had hassle-free all over the place. Yeah, I want it as easy as possible.
Yeah. Gotcha. I'm sorry, I didn't get your ladies' names. Sam? Marina? What do you guys think? Sam, we'll start with you.
It was very turned off. It was very aggressive, so I
You know what? That's so much what I felt. It was very aggressive. Do you feel the same way, Marina?
I felt like it was too busy. It was like boring colors. I just didn't love it.
Great. So let's go back here. Now, by the way, it's not. I'm not a web designer. I'm not selling services. This is important that for this particular person's sake, that they see what other people see. Are they male or female for their customers, or are they both? The customers for this particular website.
I don't know. I
Uh,
couldn't tell.
As a female, I wouldn't want to deal with it.
Wow, this is great stuff. And what is the age bracket of the customers that you think that they're trying to go for?
No clue.
Well, if you're first time homeowner or selling or whatever you're doing, I would not want to deal with him because he seems too much.
That's
He seems too
true.
advanced. Like I would be afraid to start.
So it's somebody, when you say age bracket of the customer, is probably somebody older maybe?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, more like educated and has been around the block.
Gotcha.
I was going to say, for older person, not educated, because they're trying to, because I know the concept of what that website's
I'm
trying
so
to do.
glad you're here because this is so important.
Yeah, they're trying to get people to not list their home with someone like me. They want to buy it, so
That's
this
right.
way they can resell it for more money.
That's right. And then, do they have children? This is an important question. Do they have children? Nobody knows. You see, now we're getting so granular. This is, to me, it's like an ocean filled with fish, and you have one pole in the water hoping you're going to catch something. And when that fish comes, it's probably not going to be the one that you're looking for. It might not be big enough, or it might be the one you're not looking for. It might be a shark that comes and takes your rod. To me, that's what we're getting more granular. And would this customer be looking at this? Why would they be looking at their website? Now, it's funny. You said that to buy a home, and Mike said to sell a home. So we don't even know, right? So the person who's looking at this, there's something that nobody picked up on this website that I'm going to bring up in a second, but we're going to keep going. And would they pass the red light test? No, they had no indication of a button, a sticky button. But most people don't. 99% of the people don't. Now, I'm going to bring you back to the website. I'm going to tell you all the things. Now, I'm going to pick them out because these are the things that I see. Where does it say that we will buy your home? Show me the words, we will buy your home.
Well, I looked at the top right corner and I saw purchasing homes over the phone. So I immediately went to the top right.
Top
So
right.
I
Where do
knew
you
that they were purchasing homes.
Where do you see it? Oh, the way. With that, who said COVID? Who said that? That's great. You know why that's great, Sam? Because this goes to show me when I saw this particular person has not updated his website in 3 or 4 years. And do you know there's 80% of the people who, if you Google right now, believe COVID ever exists or it was a scam? 80% of the homeowners, I'm not saying the people, 80% on a Google search pulls up 80% of the homeowners do not trust anything related to COVID-19. Why would you still have this? This to me means that A, it's probably not updated. B, it's going to turn people off. And the most important C is this particular person is not testing things on his website to see what works. And I'll go even further. I scrolled around and I spent half an hour on this website. He has YouTube channels asking people why you felt it was uncomfortable to work with people like me. And the questions were, I know you people feel very apprehensive to work with people like me. People don't trust us. Why would you be nervous? And it's all over. Do you know who his ideal customer is on YouTube? You don't, because you didn't sit there and spend some time. You only have 15 seconds, and nobody even knows who his ideal customer is. But after poking around, his ideal customer is, and forgive me if I'm wrong, is a lot of times when parents, elderly parents, want to sell their house after somebody passes away, or they both pass away, and maybe there's a son or a daughter who's across the country who doesn't want to deal with it, and the house is in repairs, and the real estate doesn't want to work with them until it looks pretty. This is a perfect example of somebody that can really help you out. And the testimonials that are in here are testimonials that attest to the same thing. Could you explain to me, well, my husband died and I had a lot of repairs, or my parents they just couldn't afford the house anymore, so they needed to get rid of it and they didn't have the money to do the repairs. That's his ideal customer. The most important thing, let's see if you guys figure this out. What is the most important thing being in the real estate business is? Don't answer this. Let's see if I get this or these people get this right. What is the most important thing that you need to do when you're projecting your real estate business on the screen? Come on, what was that? Connect. Yeah, well, yeah. Develop rapport. What do you think this particular gentleman has to do in order to gain the business of the person who's on his website or their website? I don't even see a name. No, I don't see a name either. And by the way, if you go the easy way out, and I think it was. I think it's you hit the easy way out, or our services, we make it happen no matter what. That to me scared the shit out of me. It's like, what do you have to do? Yeah, how aggressive. Yeah. So that to me was something that, I would say, Mike, and forgive me if I'm wrong, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, when you're trying to do a service like this, the most important thing is trust. You need to develop trust, and you have 15 seconds to do this. So if there's any takeaway from this particular website, do you trust this website? He's a great guy. By the way, you watch videos. I wouldn't reach out. And it's funny because a lot of the times you see this, and in his videos, you know what he says? People don't believe in these cash for houses. They think it's a scam. So maybe he puts in an SEO blog or creates these blogs as the 5 reasons why it's not a scam, or the 3 reasons why you might want to use somebody who wants to buy your house for cash, or the misconceptions of buying a house for cash. These are things that he's missing. And by the way, that would create SEO. I didn't know, and the COVID threw me off. I didn't even look at it about buying homes. Thank you, Torna. But this is his above the fold. And all of these Inc. 500, these are money corporations. People looking at this is there's no trust. They're going to take care of my mom and dad's house. Remember, if you're going to try to sell your mom and dad's house or buy it, you want to have some compassion, some empathy. You want to develop rapport and trust. This does not help me develop rapport and trust. Now, this is not to bash people's website, but to help maybe the owners look at this website, maybe reevaluate what they're selling. And this is the area here that I was telling you, which is the mobile device. There is you click on that, it could be a couple of times. I'm not sure if that's even a sticky button, but generally the phone button's on the bottom left. So that was the first one. So
what should he be saying?
That's a great question. He would have to join my workshop, but I'll give you a hint. I would take an older family, like an older woman, because there's a woman he interviews, and I would make her the homepage and say, thank you for being there when I thought I had no other options. That was super important. And then having that connection, it's touching, and now you're connecting to the people who you're actually marketing to, right? That's the most important, is becoming so granular, right? That's as far as this. So now we're going to give you 15 seconds for the next one. And I'm going to count it down, and then we're going to figure this out. This is going to be great because I have a lot of stuff that I'm going to work with you on. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay. Who is Meldaberry Sweets target customer?
Nice.
No, you can't.
Be honest.
Me.
Wait, okay. You said me. Jim, you just walked in, so you have no background here. Looking at that website, who is she serving? Who is her ideal customer? And not knowing is just as good as knowing because it helps, right? You don't know. Joey Zaza.
Kids, families, but women, because she's
Oh yeah.
Okay. Women, kids, and family. What is she selling?
All kinds of sweet treats, baked goods.
Mm-hmm.
I would think like you could also cater from them to out. I mean,
Well, you don't know. You just you're guessing. Okay. So we don't want.
she's got this cute caricature of her, so
Right. Okay.
it's inviting and nice.
Ed.
I would say kids, but anyone who loves sweets and who doesn't like sweets.
It's somebody who's on insulin, a diabetic, type 2 diabetic. They don't want sweets. Marina, who would you say her ideal customer is?
I mean, anybody who wants to buy sweets, let everybody who has a party.
How big is that? I mean, let's talk about that.
Well, she also mentioned that she sells, elderberry syrup, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe that might be getting more gradual. So you're trying to find somebody who's trying to buy something maybe for kids when they get sick.
So we have kids, we have adults, we have moms or women, we have people who are running parties, right? We have a whole bunch of people. Now, I would ask, Mike, you guys are very close friends, so you know exactly what it's all about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Are they male or female or both? Now, your website is to me, it's very woman dominant, if that's what you're going for. So you don't want to cater to men.
Not really.
Okay, and that's fine.
Women always are the ones calling me.
That's fine. It could be calling for the husbands too, right? It could be, Okay, fair enough. The next one is, what is the age bracket? So we have age brackets. There was little kids were sick. We had parents. We have people who just like sweets. So we're getting bigger and bigger. We're not getting more and more granular, right? The next question is do they have children? Well, it could be they have children. Even if you cannot identify with these questions, they're helping you narrow down who your ideal customer is. And that's the key here. The smaller you get that customer, the bigger your profit margin is, because now you know exactly who to focus on in terms of your marketing. The next question is why would this customer be looking at this website? This is a great question because you're searching for sweets. What are you searching for?
Parties.
I didn't see anything about parties. I don't think I saw anything
That's
on
why I ordered from her.
because you know her.
Yes.
Okay. But why would somebody be looking at this website? What would you type in Google to get to Metalberry Sweets?
Treat bags.
Treat packs?
Yeah. Having a workshop, a conference.
Do you do treat packs?
Like goodie bags? Is that what you get?
So we didn't know that. So now we're just guessing again, right?
My question is, will you have to have those words in your site so to push up the algorithm so that your website goes higher in the...
That's a lot to do with SEO, and that's a great question. I could tell you that when Shari and I think Jim sent me websites of everybody here, for the ones that was sent to me, there's a thing called, and it's called Google My Business. Not a single person was registered with Google My Business. I didn't get your website then. What was your website?
Declutter my clutter.
No, I think I was the late one in the game that you might have sent me. This was something I did a couple of weeks ago. And Search Console. I don't think you were on Search Console. I didn't check for you. Search Console is different. And the reason why these things are not only free and part of your marketing is what Joe had said earlier is Google needs to know that you exist, and they need to know that your presence in the space is valid, right? So your credentials are basically your website. Google My Business is free. Google Search Console, most people don't do. I could tell you I've probably met 1% of all of these courses that I did. 1% had Google Search, yes, two sessions ago. And what that is Google Search Console gives you a, let's call it a 25-character tag. You put the text file on your domain hosting service, and that's basically the person that holds your website to verify that you are in fact the owner. And then it spits out all of this information: is who's visiting your website, the age bracket, the demographic, the time. Are they using mobile, desktop, tablet? It gives you all that information. It even tells you how long they're lasting on your website. How important is that for you guys to know when it comes to marketing for your ideal customer? It is 100% important, and it's free. But most people don't even do that. So just because you have a website does not mean Google knows that you're an authority. But back to what Joe was saying is that when Google ranks you, these are things you have to do. So I have Google My Business for all my businesses. I have about 9 or 10 businesses, and every business is updated every single week with a picture, with an ad, with a post. And I always give information. I don't tell people we give the greatest guitar lessons, the best drum lessons in the world. I educate people, like how we can build confidence with your child by taking a music lesson. These are things that I do, and I post these on Google My Business with a great picture of somebody here that took lessons and an outcome. And it's always there on Google My Business. It's free, and that's how Google starts to rank your business. If you are not registered with Google My Business, the first thing you do when you get home, this is a great takeaway, register with Google My Business. And then after that, your Search Console. You might need to have a little development background in that when you give you a text, it's this long text file. You have to add a TXT file to your hosting. If you have a host, somebody that does your web hosting, they'll be the ones to do it. Those are important points. If you can do that. The last I'll just add to this is, I don't believe you or the last one had any blog posts. And the importance of blog posts is so important, because when Google crawls the web to look for things based on what you do, what you sell, the services, your products, it's going to look for your presence on the internet. And
Does that also include social media posts?
no, it does not. No.
It's not the same.
It's not SEO could help it, but I'm talking about just when Google searches. Very rarely you're going to pull up you sometimes you will, but it's going to be more of a YouTube. But what I'm saying is, for example, what we do, it's the strange thing. I put up posts all the time. The cheapest drum set for beginners. That's what brings people to my website. Or the best guitar amp for people who don't want to learn on an acoustic guitar. We get people all over the world just doing a Google search, and now we got the credibility of Google, so we rank higher and higher.
Well, Mike, the same thing I was going to say, that if you're looking, this person wants everyone to come to their business, and she sells sweets. So the customer, will put on the search engine sweets, just like you put in
Right.
the cheapest drum set. So there's a myriad or a whole list.
Zillions.
Page.
Zillions.
You want to come up, I guess, the top 5 or top 10.
I have a great response for that.
It's like, okay, I guess you're going to click on a couple and look at the website.
That's right.
At least a few.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you
That's a great. You're leading me on to the great question.
Yeah, because you're not
Thank you.
guaranteed to be first, second, or third.
That's exactly right. So I believe that this is very, very broad. Does anybody know the benefits of elderberry that does not know, Melanie? The benefits are astronomical. And she's the one that can tell me about it, because I spent more than 15 seconds on her webpage, went through the whole thing. I learned that her kids were sick, and then all this shit that they were feeding in terms of medication, and she gave them elderberry, and it was some cookies, and they got better, and they had all their flu symptoms were gone. And what if you redirect to, even if it's moms who have kids who get sick all the time, or kids who are type 2 diabetic, because there are medical benefits. I don't know if the FDA has approved, because I think that's a little asterisk, but there are benefits of eating sweets that are made with elderberry. Yeah, elderberry. There are benefits of elderberry sweets, not regular sugar. And that was not part of the message at all. So as I'm looking there, I'm saying, well, how come she's not telling her audience how important it is for children who want sweets? Or, how about treating yourself with the sweets and not being so, not feeling guilty because you just ate something packed with sugar, knowing that you're putting elderberry in your body. That to me is an important thing. Knowing the story about your child who was sick and used this. This to me is a health thing, and I didn't see anything related to health. Not one person here said anything related to the fact that you're using this particular, what would you call it?
So I think we might be confused.
Okay.
Actually, elderberry syrup is in its own sector.
Okay.
The sweets are completely separate. They're not made with elderberry.
Oh, so you don't. So that confused the heck out of me.
Because I did state that.
Was it down there? Because I was reading about how it helped.
There's two different sections. If
Ah.
you continue on to the website, one tells
Got
you
it.
about elderberry syrup, and then it tells you about the sweets are completely separate.
My apologies. So I'm even more confused then. I thought you used the elderberry in your sweets.
No,
Okay, so then you would.
I never put that in there yet.
So
That would be nice.
that would be nice.
Honestly, it wouldn't be as good.
It wouldn't. So, but maybe you would. I mean, maybe you would focusing on the benefits of elderberry in terms of health, because to me that would have been the first thing I wanted to tell everybody.
That's how I started elderberry sweets. So that's what I told in the About Me section.
Gotcha. But it's got to be above the fold is what I'm saying, because you have 15 seconds to your point. You're searching something like, a syrup or something to replace sugar. That would be the first thing that you want to do, is have that up there, and the benefits, the medical benefits as well. The next thing is would you pass the red light challenge? I didn't see a phone number anywhere on the above the fold, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that's all you really see on there. So just the takeaway is the red that. And by the way, somebody asked me, the colors of the button, do they matter? They absolutely do. And it goes back to the 411, Easy Sell 411, is the fact that he didn't do testing. I test weekly. So every week I get a whole spreadsheet of how many times people clicked on a particular link, or why do I think they did? And then what I do is I go back and forth just trying to manipulate words just to find out what that secret sauce was. So I'm going to show you now my website. I don't want to say that this is the best website in the world. This is 20 years in the making. So all the little things that I'm showing you, I want you to figure out if mine actually address those things. Does it have the red light challenge? Is it going to be able to offer somebody something different? Immediately above the fold, you'll be able to see, or maybe not see, what I do. But this isn't only because I've been doing this for 20 years. If I was doing this for 2 years, it would look similar to the other one that we saw before. But this is it. I'm going to count to 15. Just tell me who my ideal customer is, and then tell me if I meet the red light challenge, and I'll give you 15 seconds to do it. 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so we're going to go back to this for a second. So who is the ideal customer in that particular web page, that home page?
Children.
Children. Okay, how do we know that?
I saw a little girl.
Okay. The 2 websites that we saw before, the Easy and the Melderberry, was there a call to action on any of those above the folds?
On his, maybe.
No.
It said, well, if you're second guessing, which is even worse, but it's better than not saying no, right?
Right.
But it said something like, find out how much we'll pay for you, or whatever it is. But yeah, on your website. But the immediate call to action is hey,
Right, sign up
for
immediately.
yeah, exactly right. Rock and roll here, the play on words. And then just to make that clear is you also want something a little bit more unique. So everybody offers music lessons for free. Everybody offers this free trial. Everybody. What do you think I did different was in here? Anybody?
30-day money back guarantee.
Nobody that I know in the music world business for music lessons has ever given a money-back guarantee, which I gave away once. So in the 4.5 years that I tested this, and by the way, this is after testing for years, but I gave it away once. It was only because the kid that came was 3.5, not 4. We told him 4 years old is that's the point where we start kids, and mom was like, no, I promise you it's a big 3.5. I'm like, we've heard that before. So yeah, he was a big 3.5, but they actually got their money back. However, they had cousins and nieces and nephews that joined up, and she was so happy that we honored the money-back guarantee without asking for anything and driving her crazy. It was, sure, take your money back. It's really not going to affect me, and I pay my coaches. But by the way, it brought me to that next level of now finding other people who she could recommend. It was almost like free advertising. The next is my red light challenge. So here is my red light challenge here. Somebody said to me, how many times have you tested that color red? I said 4. I said, first we had it in blue, baby blue to match this. Why do you never do this in baby blue? Because if it blends in, but you can't have the same call to actions. How many people can go that granular when you build a website? When you build a website and you want to put a sticky button, or if you want to put a submit form, this cannot be the same as this. It's got to be a different color. Yeah, that's the first thing. So I had to change it. Then I went to yellow. The reason why I went to yellow and white was because Weichert, is it Weichert, who's yellow and white? They did a study and they wanted to find out the most popular colors for selling anything, and it was yellow and white. That's why Weichert is yellow. So I figured Weichert spent millions of dollars trying to figure that out. I'm just going to throw a yellow and white. To me, it jumped out a little bit too much, and after testing, we didn't get any calls. And then I went to a red and black. The phone was black, thinking that would be best because that's what I thought it would look best, red and black. And it didn't look best. And we've changed it to white, and all of a sudden the phone started to ring 10, 15 times more. We get between 40 and 50 calls a week. No other music school gets 40 to 50 calls a week. And we were able to offer them all that. We also, when we sign them up and we capture their email and their phone number, we have potential customers. Then we can reach out to them right away. These are things that you want to see and you can figure out in 15 seconds or less. You have a question?
I do.
Sure.
Is this your homepage?
It is.
So I have a contact tab as well, but it's the last tab, like yours.
No, this is, so let's not get confused with mobile, but you're right.
I'm looking right at the top.
Right, this is desktop. So the mobile is important to get that with that phone number. But that's the top right is where you always want to get a phone number. That's
Right,
exactly.
but like, so your contact page is the first page that they
Yes,
see.
exactly. If someone's looking for music lessons, you don't want to tell them about yourself. Yeah, I started when I had long hair in Brooklyn and Staten Island, and they don't want to hear it. They just want to know what to do to get
Is
to
that
get.
a universal thing then? Do you think most people should start with a contact? Like,
No, something you get for that. It's not just give me your information. We're giving you a free trial. Or, Mike, you want to sell property in freehold? Ready? The top 3 reasons why you want to grow a family in freehold, and you get a PDF, a free PDF. That could be something they can fill it out and they can send it to you. Or how I can help you with marketing. The top 3 reasons why having somebody as a spokesperson for your brand will exponentially grow your marketing. And find out the top 3 reasons why. Now somebody can log in, give them all your information. Now you have a potential customer.
Right.
There's one word, I'm going to challenge you guys. There's one word that I changed here that changed everything about my business when I made that change. I was getting calls 10, 15 times a week, but after we made this one word change, and this, you can look at this website because this is where it is. Anybody want to take a guess what that one word change was?
There,
Why? See this? This is amazing.
because now you're telling the parents that this is what you're doing for your child. You're investing money for their life.
Exactly right. There. Now I'm talking to the parents about their child. Because before it was music is the investment of a lifetime. Who am I talking to? Am I talking to the parent, the mom, the sister, the brother, the child? I'm not talking to the child, I'm talking to the parent. Now, I bring this up in my workshops all the time. There is a 4-letter word that we don't allow anybody in my 3 music schools to say. And that word is cost. Watch this. How many people have kids here? I'm going to use you because you let me use this. 2 kids, great. You ask me, now I'm going to be music school A. I'm not going to say it because I'll be a music school A, but not my Rock Out Loud. You ask me, what does it cost for music lessons? That's the first question anybody asks, whether it's your service, your product. How much does it cost for Stretch Lab? Go ahead. Ask me, how much is
it for a lesson?
now, how much is it for a lesson? So now this is a school A. I'll be school B, but school A is, we charge, I don't know, it's going to cost you around $300 a month, or it could be $150. That's what music school A would say. Now, if you're calling Rock Out Loud, now ask me, what does it cost? The musical investment of your child will run around $160 a week. I don't use the word cost. The investment of your musical education, the investment of the musical education for your child is going to cost $180. Stretch Lab. Ready? How much does it cost? Well, the investment that you're going to have on your body is going to be $100 a session. Or the investment that you're doing right now is going to pay dividends. Because when people could start to see that the word investment means growth, you're planting a seed, it grows. When you invest in real estate, your house you expect to grow. When you invest in the stocks, you expect a return. When you hand somebody a $100 bill, you've lost it forever. It's in the abyss, it's gone. But when you hand somebody $1 or $100 for an investment, now you think it's going to grow and you expect that growth expectation.
We've spent about a year on that topic. It's insane how often it comes up.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people ask it, and what we settled on is come in first for a discounted introductory stretch, see what it is you're getting
Yeah.
as a service. You're asking for the cost of something and you don't even know what it is that you're getting.
That's exactly right.
But they just want a number assigned.
That's exactly. Well, you're going to give them a number. So we say the investment of your child's musical education is going to be $160 a month, and then automatically they're like, "Let's sign me up. It's an investment. Look what I'm getting out of it. My child's going to grow confidence." So that's that's really, really important. So that's the takeaways that we have. We're going to go outside there and we're going to do this amazing exercise. And I want everybody to try to figure this out. We're going to go out there now. This is the last part of the exercise without spilling any wine. Follow me. Thinking outside the box is really the premise of the reason why we're here. So I hope you have enough value to take your business and your ideas to the next level. So if it's understanding what above the fold is, to me, that's incredibly important. There's things that we can do that will not cost us things. The Google Search Console, Google My Business. Those are things, if you update every single week, your business will grow. It costs no money. The idea here is to transform your business without you incurring any more charges. I tell people all the time, you want to fall in love with your business. You don't want to fall in debt with your business, like I did 20 some odd years ago. So this is the outside of the box thing. The next thing is this. The unique selling proposition, and this is the best way to visualize it. This is great. This is what I get. What's your unique selling proposition? We have the lowest prices on the planet. That's not a unique selling proposition. I had people fly in February from all over the country, music schools from all over the country. I said, what's your unique selling proposition? He goes, I have the best music teachers on the planet. And I said, are you kidding me? I have the best music teachers on the planet. That's not a unique selling proposition. You need to figure out what you do different, what you do better. If in your case, it could be the syrup, whatever it is. It could be real estate. The point that I'm trying to make is if you don't figure that out, you're just basically in a whole ocean of all the other competitors and you can't distinguish yourself from anybody else. That's super important. I have a great unique selling proposition I'm going to share with you, and this works for this guy. It works so well that he's the biggest pool installer in the Northeast. I wanted to get an in-ground pool, and this particular pool company is called Artistic Pools. They do fiberglass pools. I had about 4 or 5 people come to my house, and it was like, you got to put 50% down, you got to sign the contract, all that other good stuff. This guy, Mark Pedito, comes up to me, and he says, Mike, you don't have to pay me a dime until you're swimming in your backyard. I said, what does that mean? He said, well, we're going to put the pool in, we're going to make sure it's filled up with water, we're going to turn the filter on, and then you're going to pay me for the pool. I said, there's no down payment, there's no permits, I have to put anything out of pocket? He said nothing. I didn't believe him, so I said, all right, if that's the case, and I went for it. I paid him as soon as I was swimming in my pool. He didn't take a dime. I said, how do you do it? He said to me, well, we have fiberglass pools, so we're able to drop them in one day. So what I do is I take my Amex card, I have an Amex business card. Now this is thinking outside the box. I buy that fiberglass pool the day before it gets delivered to your house, and I have 30 days to pay that Amex card back. Come to your house, I have everything there, everything's excavated, the pool goes in, and fill it up with water, it's 24 hours. The next day you're swimming in your pool, right? I said, yeah. And he said, that American Express card is paid off within 7 business days. That is a unique selling proposition. He got my business. And I told my friends, he didn't ask me to market. There was no, I wasn't an affiliate. I just told everybody about it. And it's a great pool. And I still have that pool. It's been 11 years and there's no issues. It's not gunite, it's fiberglass, it's warranted for 25 years. It was such an easy sell. That was his unique selling proposition. So I'll ask you, I know Stretch Lab is it's more of a corporation, right? It's a franchise. So what would you say Stretch Lab's unique selling proposition is for you? Not for Stretch Lab, but for your particular place in Marlboro. And you might not know that yet. That's the whole purpose of this.
I don't know. I think we take extra care. We actually interview as owners every single person that works for us. And we make sure that they offer something unique.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're qualified to be touching people.
We would hope everybody at Stretch Lab, right, is. So how unique is that? I'm not sure how unique that is, So Kimberly, you have a business?
I do.
What is it?
So I'm really trying to relax when I talk to you too, because
Don't feel that way.
No, I'm trying to relax because I realized that what I did, not too many reporters do. Reporters and news anchors stay with their full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
I decided that wasn't for me, so make it on my terms where I freelance with so many different people
Right.
that I am my own entity.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a consultant, and I'm a media personality, but it's beyond news. So I can tell your story in a way that you will feel comfortable, and I don't need to wait on the news agencies to say, yeah, we like that story, or there's no fires going on. I do it on my time because you trust me.
So, in one sentence, what's your unique selling proposition?
So that's the thing. I'm not sure. I feel like what I went and kind of ventured out to do was unique, but I don't know what my
Right.
USP is.
But you see that's something to work on. I mean, that's the whole reason why you're here. Right, exactly right. Mike, now Remax is huge.
This is a better one for Mike.
Yeah. So what's your unique selling proposition?
Well, real estate agents in general always like to portray luxury and success for themselves to make people want to work for them. I portray myself as funny, and that's why I use a cartoon character and put them in silly scenes because I want people to be like, oh, I feel comfortable with that guy.
Now, is that a unique selling proposition? Nobody else in the world does that?
In the local real estate industry, no.
Got it. And that'll help you stand out. So, but I love the third base, and you have a tagline. You want to share it?
Yes, thirdbaserealestate.com, your last stop before home.
I mean, that is brilliant. To me, that is brilliant anyway, because he brought in his whole background of baseball, which was great. So the unique selling proposition is super important. My unique selling, Jim?
Yeah, if I can share.
Yeah.
Just so hopefully I'm on point or not. I believe that I have a charity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I believe I make philanthropy easy. And how do I do that? By allowing people an opportunity to raise money without having to donate their own money.
I saw that in the podcast. And that's exactly right. That's your USP. That's your marketing message. Exactly right. And watching that was, that's significant because that's giving somebody value, right? That's a very selfless thing. I thought that was great as well. The key here is if you could, so I'm just wondering, so when you walked into Rock Out Loud, you heard sounds of chanting, screaming fans. I don't know if you heard them. I'm going to remind you. So people ask me what my unique selling proposition is that we offer the experience. We also offer the ability to get kids on stages like the Starland Ballroom and the Stone Pony. Majority of music schools cannot do that. I can promise you that. And that helps build confidence. But we also touch all five senses. I can tell people to come here, and without me being here, they'll know my unique selling proposition. A goal that I'm asking for you is if someone sees your website or comes to your business or your establishment, to know what your unique selling proposition without you explaining it. Because when people come in, they get free popcorn, they get the smell of popcorn. In wintertime is gingerbread, the smell of gingerbread because it's Christmas. Or we'll have the crowd chanting. So we touch all the senses. Taste with the popcorn, the bubble gum and the gingerbread is the sense of smell. We got the sense of, when they come in, they feel like rock stars. And the one key that we do different is we connect to people. And I'm going to give you an example. This is what we do. I trained all my coaches. When I did this one thing, our retention for this music school and my other music schools are longer than any other music school. I'll challenge any music school. And it's because you have, in my opinion, up to 15 seconds to develop rapport with a child. I'll give you an example. Right? Child walks in with the mom, and any other music school is going to like, hey, how you doing, Timmy? You going to learn some guitar? Great. Let's go take a trial guitar lesson. It's not like that at Rock Out Loud. This is what happens. Hey, Steve, how are you? You are amazing. I bet you're going to love to play some rock and roll guitar. Follow me. Give me a high five. And he comes in and walks. Because the moment I develop rapport, I look at that child's eyes. Every single day, that child is like this to their teacher. They have to look up. Do you know how frightening they are? I was doing something in Africa, and I was trying to explain to them, and they didn't speak English, what a child felt when they looked up to a teacher. It was so intimidating, but I let them say it as best that they can. They were scared, intimidated. So when I have a coach that comes in and a child comes in, and that coach gets on their knees, I know that kid's going to be with us for the next 3 to 4 years. That's how I build my business. These are the little things that we learn. My unique selling proposition, I guarantee people see when they walk in without me having to explain it. And that's the purpose. The last thing I'm going to leave you is and what I would say is look at this. If you want to take a screenshot, figure because everybody, we have to know what the customer wants. We have to know what our competitors do well. We have to know what we do well. But then it's that USP. We have to figure that one little thing. So that's important. The next slide is probably the most important is, do your employees know what your unique selling proposition is? I got to tell you, if you don't have employees, you probably will. Because once you do and integrate this stuff, you'll be surprised how many things start to change. You might have to hire employees because they need to know your mission statement. They need to know what you're all about. I do this all the time. I have people here, we do these classes, and I have my coaches, I ask them, what is our unique selling proposition or what is our mission statement. The key is never to tell them first. Hear what they think your music school is about. Then you realize as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, all the things you're doing wrong. Because if they don't spit back what you've been spitting back to them for years, you have a problem, and it's on the owner, it's on the entrepreneur, the business owner. You need to make sure that those people that are working with you know exactly what it is. Some people are like, well, yeah, ours is because we have a great school and we do these cool shows. No, that's not the reason why we're in business. That's not the reason why we're here. The reason why we're here is we build confidence in a child. And by getting them up on a stage builds that confidence. And when that kid's got to go and that Monday morning and do a book report in front of 30 people, it's going to be like, I got this. I just played to 600 people at the Starland Ballroom. And that's true. We do podcasts right here of kids that are interviewed by their coaches, and they say, what was it like to play the Stone Pony or the Starland Ballroom? They're like, I can't believe I played in front of 600 people. And we played this 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago at the Starland Ballroom. The night before, Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses played. Those kids were playing Guns N' Roses songs the next day from the guys that played in Guns N' Roses. How do you think it made those kids feel? That's my unique selling proposition. So if you configure what your unique selling proposition is, make sure the people that work with you know exactly what your unique selling proposition is. To me, feel that that's the most important thing. That's how you develop culture. So this is pretty much the end of the presentation. Does anybody have any questions that I can help you with?
Mine's specific to your business. What is the average life cycle of one of your clients when you're talking about retention?
Mm-hmm.
A kid comes in and signs up for music lessons. How long are they typically with you?
That's a great question. Depends on their age. We found that the ages between 7 and 9 will last until they're 12 years old, about 3 to 4 years. The kids that were up here yesterday, I was here doing a podcast. 4 kids were here, drummer, piano, singer, and guitar player. They were with us for 3 or 4 years each, between 3 and 4 years. And that's the age that we got them at 7 years old. Now they're 10 and 11, and we're probably going to have them for another year. I knew that if I focused on that 11 or 12-year-old kid like I did 20 years ago, that problem is they get girlfriends. Who wants to deal with guitar lessons anymore? I don't want to deal with that. I got a boyfriend. They don't want to deal with that. So what we did was we backtracked it. We went for kids between the ages of 7 and 9, and we were able to keep that retention 3 years, 4 years, which has been able to help us grow. It's amazing, the feedback you get. But the more granular you get in terms of a parent, in my case, or in terms of the mom and the age of the child, the more you're going to grow your business exponentially without spending wasted money. You can spend money on thousands of people and trickle in probably the wrong customers. You don't want to do that. So that was a great question. Yes?
We live in a world where social media is huge.
Yeah.
So if we focus on that so much, like some of us do in this room,
Yeah.
does it kind of hinder what my website is like if it stays stagnant for a little while? Like, is the website as important?
That's a great question. On social media, I know with Facebook and Instagram, you have the ability to add landing pages. So if you're advertising anything on social media, make sure that your landing page is for that. So I'll give you an example. I do guitar lessons, bass lessons, drums, voice, and piano. So if I do a social media post, a relevant social media post of a child playing the piano, I'm not sending them to Rock Out Loud Live. I'm sending them to my landing page that is piano lessons for a child. Because if you're searching for piano lessons, you're going to put piano lessons, and that's going to be your landing page. So you should have a website that's dynamic in that you have, if you do 5 services, you have a landing page for each service.
Right.
So if you're doing catering, you have a landing page for parties because people are going to search for parties. If it's going to be a communion, that's a different landing page. Or if it's going to be a wedding, that's a different landing page. You want to be specific for the people that you're actually going after. If you bring them to a generic site, that's not what they're looking for. I'm looking for just guitar lessons, and they're in front of a piano lessons landing page, it's not going to work. Did that answer your question?
It did actually, but it also at the same time I'm trying to figure out how to get the social media posts that I'm working on anyway to translate to my website.
It's the conversion. It's the link that you're going to provide inside the post. So for example, I'm on TikTok with my other business, and I had to have X amount of followers, thousands of followers, before I was allowed to put a link to sell my product. So now when I go in, so now when I'm there, everything goes to that product. So I have a store on TikTok, I'm selling 4 different things. Every single social media video is posting to a different landing page depending on the product. So if you're posting something to, whatever, a client, for example,
right,
or whoever it is you're trying to aim towards, on your landing page for your website, you need a specific landing page for what you're offering for that service.
All right, it's time to revamp.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not selling any services. I don't do website design. This is just to really educate you to find out what you can do to improve without spending money, because everybody's, that's the last thing you want to do is spend and waste money on things that are just not working for them. So I hope this was a lot of add value to you. Thank you so much, and Sherry, thanks for putting this. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Enjoy some more wine. I'm going to start packing everything up, but the wine and the cheese is there, and the crackers. And if you have any questions, the books you could take home, my email address is michael@outsideourbox.com, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
I just got
Yeah.
one quick